part of this lack of understanding, it creates this barrier that we're trying to break and to look at these Native communities is that as Native people, we have a history. We have our own history, but it's not in the history books. And I think that for Jimmy and I, what we've been able to do is, and this is one of the things that I really try to get people to understand, is that, listen, I'm not here to tug on any guilt trips on you. I don't want to do that because that's what you're not here for. But I want to tell you our version of what's going on. And it's for you to understand. So you may understand that, we had a Holocaust here in this country as Native people from our history. We had, and the numbers vary, and we had chemical warfare against us for centuries, and that's alcoholism. Believe it or not, we had germal warfare that happened to us when we were given those blankets with the smallpox. That's called germal warfare. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to tell our story so that they understand where we're coming from, to look at this and to say, we want to share this with you, not to make you feel guilty or to say it's your fault or whatever, but you need to understand the history of Native people come from a different perspective. We look at life a little bit different. But at the same time, we are human beings, and we wanna have a life. We want family. We want security. We want safety. We want stability. That's what we want, just like anyone else. But a lot of times what happens, again, like looking at with disabilities, the discrimination against people with disabilities is very parallel to discrimination as Native people. And so that's how we get people to understand where we're coming from. And I think that's where that bridge building needs to happen. She brought her daughter who had Down syndrome, and she was sharing with me that from my perspective, as a Native perspective about disabilities, helped her so much. It encouraged her, and it even encouraged her daughter. And so that was what we offered. We were able to offer that. And so that parent was very thankful, and they gave me, I think she wrote a little note and she gave it to me. I was like, oh my God, they're so powerful to see that from a Native perspective and getting people to understand about disabilities. But for me, as a Native person, I was able to really understand that discrimination with disabilities or with domestic violence, or looking at a person with alcoholism, and so that's our worldview. And I think that's part of the bridge building that we're trying to do, is to create those and look at that. And I think that I always tell our own Native people is that we are the answer. We can't be waiting for someone from outside to come and tell us how to do things. As Native people, we are the answer. And so I really encourage our own Native professionals to say, our culture is the key of our survival, and you are the answer for that. And I think that's something I really want to emphasize. And we can share that. I think people learning from Native people in terms of how that worldview, I think it can help people.